Chess is the perfect example of how I want to replace humans in everything. Yeah, but I don't think playing chess is a job with some exceptions. I don't think people care about the entertainment factor when I starts coding much faster than humans. They mostly think of their job. Unless you're talking about the artsy type of eye, then yes, human imagination is far more interesting. Serb. That's like someone 100 years ago saying that machines would never replace people at anything because a car can beat a human in the 100 meters, and yet people are still interested in the Olympics. I'd rather watch robot golf than the real thing. Oh, humans will be ahead of AI in entertainment and engagement for a long time. We just won't have any money for it. Yeah, you couldn't shove a butt plug into an IS ass. The human versus machine debate in chess began in the April 5th, but still chess players are much more fun to follow, and their games much more interesting. What is extremely risky, but is accepted as safe by everyone. Driving. Skiing is one the most dangerous activity that is accepted and even promoted. Pregnancy and giving birth. Maybe not safe by everyone, but unprotected sex. Ladders and stepladders, one of the most common ways people get injured at work or at home, have some nightmare fuels. Forklifts have machine spirits that lust for blood and property damage, but we tolerate them in commerce anyway for their incidental ability to move heavy stuff around. Drinking is addictive, and that addiction has an incredible impact on those around you. Alcohol addiction is one of the main causes for childhood neglect and trauma, and at the root of generational trauma. Drinking yourself into a stupor when you're struggling is still romanticized and socially acceptable. Horse riding seriously. I don't know a single rider that hasn't been seriously injured or handicapped by a horse. What is something women often do to men but complain when it's done to them? Asked to clean up their mess. If I leave a book and laptop out, I always think of a song that begins with "Here Comes the Pain." But it's okay to leave makeup. Getting rejected. Whenever someone approaches me and I reject them, they act all pissy and angry, just like they complain some men do. Objectifying men. Complain that they have the right to reject anyone for any reason, but get pissed off when handsome guys reject them for not being attractive enough. Jesus, so many disrespect, nagging, minimums, rudeness, and many more I can't remember right now. Interrupting during conversations. Objectify them. When I was in college, I had female friends that would complain that I only dated hot chicks. Every time they would call me shallow, I'd ask them if their boyfriend was ugly. Never got a response. Ignoring personal space. Not truly listen to them. It's physically impossible to watch all movies ever made. You're assuming I'm only watching one movie at a time. Honestly, I'm surprised 156 years is all it would take. If it would take 156 years to watch 150 years of film, sixth was going at once. Easy. Or save yourself some time and just watch one movie. The greatest piece of cinema since 1874. I'm of course talking about Dude, Where's My Car? How about all movies rated 80 on Rotten Tomatoes? Why couldn't I have 100 playing at once with a different movie on each? So just watch the good ones. It's a much more manageable number of like 50. I'll help you out. You don't need to watch Pacific Rim 2. Not with that attitude. And that's just the Fast Furious movies. Despite skateboarding, snowboarding, and surfing all being board sports that utilize wax, they all utilize it differently and for different purposes. Nice board. Want me to wax it for you? Wait, how do skateboards use wax? They wax their Johnsons, if I remember correctly, which is a euphemism for something I can't quite recall. They all use it for the same thing, to normalize friction. They just use it for different effects in different mediums. Despite the shared use of wax, each board sports skateboarding, snowboarding, and surfing applies it uniquely for distinct purposes. Three different applications, but only two purposes: slide more or slide less. Crazy that this is also a literal shower thought I've had before. Thank you. Waiterboarding don't utilize wax, just water and piece of cloth. And in hockey, wax used on stick blades to protect the tape and keep ice shavings from building up. Men who have attractive female friends, would you sleep with them if you could? Younger me, yes. Current me, probably. As my uncle used to say, I'd the crack of dawn if I could grab a hold of it. I used to say one day my super hot longtime friend who was going through a rough patch in life got really drunk and tried to fuck me, I put her to bed. I figured if she wanted to fuck me once she sobered up, I'd be down. I'm glad I didn't. Don't screw the crew. Some of them yes, some of them no. My best friend is attractive, but I'm not really sexually attracted to her. Maybe it's because I know too much about her law. I'll have sex with someone's attractive friend. Maybe. It would really boil down to the situation, and if it would feel like the right thing to do. So probably not. Former military of Reddit, what's the craziest thing that you've witnessed at bootcamp? We had a guy tie his sheets and blankets together to climb out the two-story window to get to the ground to go. Doors were not locked or guarded. He could have just walked down the stairs and out the door. In Navy bootcamp, my buddy saw someone suck start an M16. We had a guy get a boil on his buttocks. Instead of going to the medic, he used a safety pin to try to pop it. Don't worry, he doused it in hand sanitizer to clean it first. Well, that didn't work, and it only got the boil infected. He had to go to the hospital to get it lanced, packed, and treated for 10 days straight. He almost got recycled, but ended up was me. I was the guy. Hundreds of years into the future, there will be millions of people that will have access to explicit media of thier ancestors having sex and taking nudes. Following the bankruptcy of OnlyFans, has announced that it is purchasing their digital archives and will be integrating the records into their database. How many arguments will be won with a well-timed "this your grandma"? What if it becomes a trend? Hey, wanna watch our great-great-great-great-grandparents get it on? Ancestor porn. Oh, whoa babe, where did you learn that move? A video of my great-grandmother. I'm already cringing at the thought that I know of at least 2 girls I went to high school with who now do hardcore porn, and they have adult children. Doubt it. I think a lot of people will lose access to their families' cloud accounts. Will the cloud even exist? I think they'll delete old accounts and data at some point. Bold of you to assume humans aren't gonna be extinct by then. What album will you recommend until the day you die? Harvest by Neil Young. Solid from beginning to end. Rumors. Led Zeppelin I. Midnight Marauders, A Tribe Called Quest. Stevie Wonder. Songs in the Key of Life. The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. Disintegration by The Cure. Jeff Beck Group, Zeppelin I. Marvin Gaye, What's Going On? Pixies, Doolittle. Paul Simon, Graceland. It's the only album I've ever owned where I've liked every single song on the album. Black Sabbath, Master of Reality. Heard it when I was 6 years old and knew immediately it was music on a much higher level. Fan for 50 years. Stopped making sense, Talking Heads. Steely Dan, Aya. Songs for the Deaf Queens of the Stone Age. Tears for Fears, Songs from the Big Chair. In Rainbows. The Downward Spiral, 9 Inch Nails. For a very short moment you were exactly P years old. An irrational moment, if you will. This post was a great excuse to use the peace symbol. I would have taken the opportunity to throw T in there too. Technically, if you just change the scale in which you keep time, you are forever p years old. Many celebrate the occasion with a bit of a screaming tantrum, though we could never prove this, and only infer when you were younger and when you were older. I would argue infinite small increments of time do not exist. No, because pi is irrational, but time isn't. The shortest possible time moment is the Planck time, but pi is much more. Bio, because of the discrete nature of everything real. There's cake days, which seem to happen all the time, and then there is pi day. But seriously, if we use pi as a time reference, we will never know when it happens because we don't know what full pi even is. This is convenient if you measure time in radians orbited and or rotated. It's quite fortunate that facial hair grows symmetrically for most men. It's quite fortunate that we can shave our facial hair to look symmetrical. It most certainly does not. Not at all uncommon for guys to have one area that can grow hair on one side of their face but can't on the other. I know if I grow out a beard, my right mustache side will grow and connect to the beard, but my left side doesn't, as there's a small patch that doesn't grow. I feel like it's more uncommon to have perfectly symmetrical facial hair. God must have been running low on facial hair the day he was creating me. I have great news for you about the rest of our body. Mine doesn't. One side grows almost horizontally. I comb and trim it in a way so it matches. Don't thank nature or luck. Thank generations of hard-working women who only had sex with men with symmetrical hair growth. The quarter-sized bald patch on my right cheek says what's up. How could projections of Neanderthals possibly show accurate facial hair growth?